There are a thousand reasons to live this life, every one of them sufficient. In the name of the Father, of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Well, first of all, Happy New Year to you all. And we are at the beginning of a new year, and I imagine that you do the same thing I do in these moments. We question ourselves about whether we are living our life to the full, coming closer to the best version of what we could or should be. Are we on track? Are we making good use of our time? Are we growing, expanding, and why not, are we becoming better people? What kind of impact are we having on others? Are we contributing to make the world a better place? We can measure results. We can give an answer to these questions in terms of prosperity, emotional fulfillment, fun. How much fun have we had this past year? Progress on our skills, knowledge, career. We also might have to acknowledge that we missed opportunities, wasted time, neglected chances. There definitely is benefit in hindsight. Far from being an indictment, the humble and serene acknowledgement of our missteps and mistakes makes them worthwhile. We will have learned something valuable, and this in itself counts as improvement. Often, though, life has secret ways of nurturing the best in us over much longer cycles, much longer than one single year, over years, and sometimes even over a lifetime. We do not discern any progress. We think that nothing is happening because some of our most significant achievements in life are like pearls that grow only in hiding, or seeds that disappear, that have to die, and then one day suddenly become manifest. Only then we understand that what looked like inaction, waste of time, paralysis, in fact, was a gestation. I love this word, gestation. A therapist once told me that this is how we should look at depression. We all go through times of depression. It's allowed. It is allowed. Or bereavement. They are period of gestation. On the outside, nothing happens. We move in circles. We are trapped. We lack motivation. We are drained of energy. Something else is at work under the surface that consumes all our energies. This is why on the outside it looks we are doing nothing, because we are working inside. And because we do not see any progress, or the process is much slower than we would like it to be, we mistake these life-changing inner workings for laziness, weakness, indecisiveness. A year often is too short a time to measure these cycles which are part of everyone's life, but are not easily perceived by those around us, nor valued by our society. Now, who is to decide what is a sufficient, valid reason to live our life? There is such profound wisdom and consolation in the sentence which I read you before the beginning of this sermon. I don't know if you noticed. There are 1,000 reasons to live this life, every one of them sufficient. I love this sentence. It comes from a novel very well known, Gilead, by Marilynne Robinson. I read it for the third time last summer on the beach in the south of Italy. This sentence came to my mind as I was reflecting on the passage from Numbers we have heard earlier as our first reading, which contains this splendid blessing. The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious to you. The Lord lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace. When Marilynne Robinson, in her novel Gilead, points to the one reason sufficient to live this life, to make sense of it, to give it meaning and fulfillment, she is talking about a blessing uttered by the old pastor who is the main character of this marvelous book, John Ames. John Ames, this pastor, imparts this blessing using these very words. It is an intensely moving passage. Despite being a profoundly good-natured, humble, and forgiving person, John Ames has battled with grudge and resentment for the whole of his life, especially towards a young man, his best friend's son, Jack Bolton. And there's another novel by Marilynne Robinson called Jack about this character. And partly he has this resentment for understandable reasons. This is profoundly humiliating and painful for such a conscientious and loving minister, and it casts a shadow over everything else, over the whole of his life, and leaves him with a sense of unfulfillment. Until, that is, unexpectedly, he realizes that this lifelong struggle had been a gestation of the kind I described earlier, and a preparation for the scene that comes almost at the end of the novel and at the end of his life, when the old pastor says goodbye to the young man. I quote from the novel. "We sat there for a while. Then I," it is the old pastor speaking, said, "The thing I would like actually is to bless you." He, the young man, shrugged. "What would that involve?" "Well, as I envisage it, it would involve my placing my hand on your brow and asking the protection of God for you. But if it would be embarrassing," there were a few people in the street. No, he said, "that doesn't matter." And he took his hat off and set it on his knee and closed his eyes and lowered his head, almost rested it against my hand, and I did bless him to the limit of my powers, whatever they are, repeating the benediction from Numbers, of course. "The Lord make his face to shine upon thee and be gracious unto thee. The Lord lift up his countenance upon thee and give thee peace." Nothing could be more beautiful than that, or more expressive of my feelings, certainly, or more sufficient for that matter. Then, when he didn't open his eyes and lift up his head, I said, Lord, bless Jack Bolton, this beloved son and brother and husband and father. Then he sat back and looked at me as if he were waking out of a dream. Thank you, Reverend, he said. I told him it was an honor to bless him. And that was also absolutely true. In fact, I'd have gone through seminary and ordination and all the years intervening for that one moment. He just studied me in that way he has. Then the bus came. I said, we all love you, you know. And he laughed and said, you're all saints. He stopped in the door and lifted his hat, and then he was gone. God bless him. Such a beautiful passage, isn't it? Something extremely important happens in this passage. A blessing is meant to benefit the person on whom it is pronounced. And yet here it benefits the person imparting it. As he blesses the young man, it is the old pastor's life that reaches plenitude. As he says, in fact, I'd have gone through seminary and ordination and all the years intervening for that one moment. Blessing has a peculiar feature. We cannot impart it on ourselves. We cannot say, I bless myself. Have you ever thought about that? We always need someone else to bless us, to call grace, peace, growth, life, joy upon us. This does not mean, however, that the blessing does not benefit the person imparting it. Have you ever noticed, especially during these days, how restoring, comforting, fulfilling it is to wish good to someone else, to bless other people? I feel good when I bless other people. I feel good when I wish even just Happy New Year to someone else, and I see the smile in the face of this person. We keep doing it, especially in this time of the year, to the people we know, those we bump into, those we love. Wishing good to others brings real, deep, lasting benefit to ourselves for a simple reason. To wish good things to others, we have to summon them in ourselves first. It can be hard sometimes to wish peace to others when our hearts are full of anxiety and in turmoil. Or wish life to others when we feel dead inside. Or joy to others when we are grappling with persistent inner sadness. And yet, if we manage to do it, it is because we still have access to some, at least, of that peace, of that life, of that joy in us. And these are the kind of things that are not depleted when we bestow them on others. On the contrary, the more we wish good, peace, life, joy to others, the more they grow in ourselves. This happens when we bless other people, but even more so when we bless our God, which is at the heart of each of our times of worship, which is what we are doing right now. So, let us cherish this thought at the beginning of this new year. As we bless each other, and as we bless God. Yes, there are 1,000 reasons to live this life, every one of them sufficient. Each single blessing given and received can become a sufficient reason to live this life. In the name of the Father, of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit.